defensive end. Halpin up ahead for Leifer. Leifer open for the alley for Turell. Oh my goodness!
Welcome, everybody, to a more finality, closure, somber episode of the Ball Habatim. I'm here stepping in for Ari Lamb. You got the, as he would say, the grizzled veteran, Natan Cohen, here with the oddmore of analytics, Shua Cohen, and Yaakov. We're just going to call you Yaakov Cohen, but Yaakov Sachs joining us for the second time, I believe. This is your second time forward-facing. Looking pretty beautiful as ever. Happy to have you guys to join here as we start talking a Max basketball, which by the way is still alive and well. This season is now comes to a close. This unbelievable season that will remain in the history books, will become legend, not just for the players, not just for the coaches, but for everybody that it touched, both in the Max community and without. And we'll get to share. Hopefully some wonderful thoughts and wonderful stories. I got a couple myself of just sort of experiences that came about because of this season. But I think we wanted to start first with just some general thoughts about the game on Friday. I got the privilege of being there in person at a beautiful, beautiful stadium at Stockton University. Guys, it was, it looked a lot like Farmingdale in terms of just the setup, a nice open setup with seats on all sides. A great Max crowd, and just really enjoyable. I didn't know how the experience sort of translated to the game, but talk to me about sort of the, your feelings watching that game. What are some of the things that jumped out? How you navigated through the ups and downs of Friday's game.
Yeah, if you want to go first.
Sure. Again, so I was there as well. If you want to start at the end and work backwards, the final shot from where my perspective was, it seemed like it was a tough shot to make. Then talking to tons of people on Shabbos who were just like, no, it was really open. I guess it was sort of a vantage point where we were at. And it's like, he really had a good opportunity. Like that was sort of his shot. So that was sort of a little depressing to hear that it was a lot better look than we thought. But, this was only my second game of the season attending live. And the crowd, for being in a big gym, like the YU fans really made noise. They really showed up. It wasn't a huge crowd, but the feeling, it felt like it was a massive crowd. So that was exciting. I imagine watching at home gave a very different, perspective of, the slow burn. When you're at games live, they sort of, little moments sort of don't seem so big. The action's sort of constantly going. Some of the other takeaways that I, sort of felt or noticed or was even talking about during the game, which I guess could be a jumping off point for some other people, was I don't know if they specifically game planned for it or it just was a result of their defense. But Halpert could not get off a three-pointer. He wasn't being gun shy. He just wasn't open. And that really put a ton of pressure on Ryan to score, which he did. But, had I think we had that element, I think we could have won the game by 10 or 15 points. So I'll open up the floor there.
Yeah, so as the only one on this panel who watched it on Max Live, we definitely heard the crowd noise. So it was evident from watching on TV that the YU crowd was there and was really loud and supportive. Obviously, after Ryan hit that step back, you could really hear how wild the crowd went. I think Eitan took one 3-point attempt the whole game. He missed it, and he took one three-quarter court 3-point attempt that he hit after the buzzer. That was a big part. I think the Johns Hopkins seemed to game plan to take away the really dangerous shooters on the Max and really sag off of the the lesser shooters who were on the court to really minimize getting beat on backdoor cuts and stuff like that. So they extended their defense both on ball and off ball to take away Ryan, Aton, Oren when he was on the court. And after Ethan had a couple receiving Ethan, they largely kept Thibault and put him either on Ofek or Gaber or Matan or Jin. And it really was a good game plan, and it really caused a lot of problems for Yeshiva.
Yeah, I think one of the things you looked at the box score after the game, and you look at Oren's stat line, right? It's basically 16 minutes and then zeros across the board, with one foul, I believe, right? And that was the entire stat line. So, Oren worked his way. Worked his way up to get some really great minutes in crunch time all season long. Kudos to him, or shouts to him, as Ari would say. But it's not a question of him showing up or not showing up. Even his defense was pretty contested. He's been getting much better on the defensive end, but there just wasn't anything in the flow of offense, right? It highlights the lack of anything for him in the flow of offense. I think the same thing, even to a smaller degree. Jordan played less minutes, but that box score was also zeros across the board, except for, I believe, one block, right? So, which was a nice play on Carson James inside in the first half. So there was not a whole lot, right, in terms of bench support in general outside of Ethan, and you had a lot more. Three of the stars really. I think we look at the box score. Ryan, Gabe and Aton played 40 minutes, played the whole game. Ryan played, I think, 36 or somewhere close to that, which really was just his sitting for the 3-minute and change stretch in the first half, where he picked up his second foul, or a couple minutes after he picked up his second foul, where he came out of the game. So Ryan, I believe, basically played the whole second half up until he fouled out with 1.4 seconds left. So a lot of heavy reliance on the starters, as it's been all season long. Not a whole lot of surprises in terms of the defense. We've seen some of that defense, especially by the, I would say, better coached and more prep teams. We saw some of that from IW to a certain extent. We saw some of that from St. Joe's as well, right? Packing in the middle. Johns Hopkins just seemed like they had the personnel to pull it off, especially with the size in the paint. And being able to stop, basically taking away any baseline opportunities, drive opportunities that the YU was able to at least start, not really finish. To
me, this might have been the most aggressive sagging off that we've seen. I could be wrong on that point, but especially early on, meaning first minute into the game, they're 8 feet off of Zucker right away. It was very aggressive, and we couldn't make them pay, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was both the most aggressive and the most wide range. We've never seen a team put a big on Ofek and really just keep the big in the paint. That was done, and it worked. It worked very well.
It worked, yeah.
Yeah, and part of the reason why it worked, again, was there was definitely a little gun shyness, right, on Ofek's part to pull the trigger, whether that was intentional, whether it was sort of on his part versus trying to get into the flow of offense. Again, we still had some mismatches, right? Even with as great a defensive job, Carson James, and what a game. That guy had on both ends of the floor. He was the man, but Ryan still had an advantage, right? Ryan still had a high advantage in terms of the fight. You saw they didn't really double Gabe, right? Even though Tybal was in the paint, they let him take Braden Johnson one-on-one against Johnson, 6'6", probably a little taller than Gabe, but Gabe felt like the advantage of that matchup too. So there were still areas where they had the advantage. I want to go back to the last play because Yaakov, you mentioned, or so not the last play, but 60-58.
The tying shot.
And the shot, Ryan, again, I think if you asked Ryan, and I did ask Ryan after the game, in terms of, was that the play? What was that? I think he'll say he had a good look, right? Meaning he worked hard to get that look, right? A lot of ball fakes, a lot of moves with a lot of footwork to be able to get to a step through, and he had Tybal coming right at him. But he would say, I think, that he had a good look at the game. Listen, it was a tired team. They had played, like you said, a lot of minutes. That feeling on the sidelines, though, just to get back. Listen, it was I believe 60-52. With a minute and change, maybe a minute 20 something left in the clock, so to be able to get the 3 free throws and a 3, along with I believe a steal and an offensive foul call to be able to be in that position with a good amount of time on the clock where you didn't feel like you were just jacking up something because of the time left was an amazing feeling, and the sidelines were going crazy. I think for those at home, I mentioned this, I don't know which team was on the sideline, whether it was Wilson or Stockton, but under our basket, there was one of the teams for the next game who were also really into it. And they were really excited, obviously, because it's a comeback and an underdog experience. So it was really one of the best experiences I can remember in terms of just the energy that was going on. The Misha Nechtas Adar chant was out there in full force, and really just so much there. But it was you'd hate to see a season end at all, right? But walking away, at 50-40, right, 10 points down, and really not seeing much signs of life for the last, 8 minutes of the first half and probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the second half, to be able to get to that point felt like, all right, we got something. And I think that's, where some of the disappointment happened. Yeah. But honestly, it was amazing to get back to that point, and everyone felt it in the place.
Yeah, I mean, 10 things had to go right. They missed at least 1, if not 3 free throws. I don't remember the exact number. And then there was like a full court pass, which became a steal. And it all happened in the span of 1 minute. Like, it was, 1 minute clock time. It was, or real time almost. It was pretty shocking.
Yeah, Delaney didn't have his best game. I mean,
that pass was that deflected by Ryan, the Delaney one that ended up?
I don't think so. I think it was just
he threw it up.
He threw it up. It looked a lot like Halpert's pass from the first half, sort of that baseball pass. It was really just he saw something in a trap, and I think he rushed it. And he was rushing it all game. Even at the foul line, right? He was gifting us, 1 of 2s mostly every time he went to the line. So there was a lot, like you said, Yaakov had to go right even to get to that point. A lot of the fans I know I talked to after the game and myself at the time, we were hoping they'd actually go for a 3, use Ryan's height, take a 3 there, and really just try to win it. And again, with Ryan in foul trouble, even an overtime period seemed a little dubious. And the team was just, like I said, gassed. Jay pointed out in the chat, just like the energy level. I mean, they had to put so much into that. They have a lot of exhaustion and fatigue. So, but what a game, what an experience. And then, a lot of racing back. I was afraid of overtime, to be honest. I was afraid we were going to lose half the fans. Heading back to TDEC or something.
A lot of people in the crowd were hoping for a 3. Win or lose in regulation.
It was, for those who don't know, there were a lot of people.
One other thing from that last play.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think if you rewatch it, so after Ryan had the shot fake and he stepped in and Thibault came out, he had Ofek cutting on his right back door, which I won't spend too much time lamenting what could have been, but I thought that would have been a layup if he saw him.
Yeah. I think part of it's which way he was coming, right? Meaning, if I remember correctly and watching it over again, Ryan's step through basically was stepping back towards the left, right? So you'd have to see him coming from the other way. He sort of turned and was able to step, and again, it would have been an unreal play had he been able to see the cut. But that shot, I think, was going up 99 times out of 100, unless maybe something happened there. Again, I think he took the shot. If I remember correctly, the foul came with 3.4 left, so the shot was taken, somewhere around 5 seconds. So not a whole lot of time left at the time.
Yeah, watching it live, you definitely saw Ofek open, but I mean, you're going down with Ryan taking that shot, and unless early in the shot clock someone ended up wide open.
Yeah, it was very similar to the Farmingdale, honestly. I mean, being there was plenty of time on the clock, 14 seconds this time, I think 18 seconds the time before, or vice versa. And then basically it ended up turning into a Ryan ISO where he amazingly, was able to get off a good enough look and just didn't go down. So a lot, again, very familiar. The Max hadn't been, listen, they hadn't been in many of those situations all season long. I think that was the only 2, or maybe, I don't know if the St. Joe's game, there was something similar in St. Joe's Long Island where we had a couple possessions where they were 1 possession games at the very end. But there wasn't a whole lot of that all season.
Because we were 0-3 on 5-point and under games on the season.
Yeah, I mean that was one of my thoughts about the game was also, and not going to point out anyone specific here because I don't think it was anyone specific, but there definitely was a feeling, watching it, that some of the guys got tight. The moment was too big. I think the record in close games would probably speak to that. It's not D3, it's not D1, it's not it. It goes across every sport at every level. Some guys, when it gets tight, they don't put up the same stats, or they can't hit the same shots that they do in the regular season. There definitely was a feeling of that, but but it seemed the same. It went the same way for Johns Hopkins. Obviously, I could be wrong, but watching Thibault, he did not look like an offensive player in general, but he had no offensive game. And, as we said, their best player played probably, he would probably say, one of his worst games of the season. They had one guy step up huge, and that was really the swing.
Yeah, listen, we're going to talk now. We got blessed by having someone who's never tight, always on his game.
Always
Jack,
on it.
thank you so much for joining us here. We're about to. We started being a little Messiah Bignus, right? As we say, we started with a little bit of the I wouldn't say bad, it's just recapping sort of the game and more our feelings. Because right, this is kind of like the fan episode wrap up. I think we're going to do a couple pieces in the coming weeks where we're going to be able to have, again, players and teams and other folks coming on. But this is really the Hakaras Hato fan episode. So starting Messiah Bignus, and then we're going to have. Now you're here to bring us some shevach, right? Some praise that we get, because I think we're, unless you want to hear you talk about the game. I know I was sitting next to you and for a lot of that and was able to experience it, but I think, trying to put the season as well in perspective.
Listen.
By the way, it wouldn't be a Jack Turell if he was in
Jack, we got you. We got you.
Just
okay.
Oh no, I'm back. Can you hear me?
I said, Jack, it wouldn't be a Jack Turell drop-in if you were actually home, sitting around like a normal person. You have to be running down Amsterdam Avenue, driving a car, anything out of the ordinary.
Oh no, I'm picking up a bunch of guys. We're about to go play in a rec league. Ryan's coming to watch. I really tried to push him to have him come play with us, but unfortunately, all the agents. Sorry about that. Fortunately, all the agents decided it wasn't a good idea for Ryan to play in a rec league with a bunch of mid-20-year-olds. So he's not going to end up playing. What I was saying was, you think the players were tight. Man, I was tight. When Ryan was shooting those free throws, I had to hand my son off to Sister Zucker so I could put my head on my wife's shoulder. I couldn't watch. And if you watch the replay, I've never seen Ryan take heavier breaths. It was like he was scuba diving. Right before the free throw line. That's why he missed the first two. If you ask him, everyone gets tight, and both coaches did a great job in pregame scouting, right? Why you did a great job keeping Delaney going left the whole time and putting the pressure on. He shot 6 of 45 for the tournament, but that's just because Steinmetz scouted him beautifully, and then the other coach took what Steinmetz did. It was like, oh, well, I guess that's how you play him. The problem was, if everyone's tight, except for Ryan. Ryan was ready offensively, and Gabe was able to get his shots. The other coaches said, listen, Ofek, we know you're going to catch it and drive right. We're going to smack Thibault right there and make you make a play, and we're going to take away Zucker on the dump-off. Zucker, we're going to play 10 feet off you and dare you to shoot that jumper or dribble handoff to Ryan, which I thought he should have done. And Eitan Halpert, we know you like shooting threes. We're going to have a guy hugging you the entire game, like just right up close. And when you have a game like that, personally, I thought you got to just go. If your offense isn't working, and I spoke with it at length with Harold Katz, and yeah, they weren't executing. We weren't executing our sets. We weren't setting, all five guys weren't setting picks. All five guys maybe were shooting too early. Fine, that happens. But when the trade comes, you got to go what's working. My opinion, and you could call me biased, why not just go with the 0-1 Iverson offense, throw 5 defenders in there to play defense, and just get the ball to Ryan? You needed a point. I mean, they ended up doing that, and it worked, right? Ryan had, 6 points down the stretch. in the last minute. We could have. I mean, I thought
He had 9, right? He had the
when you
3,
get all
then
tight.
the 3 free throws, then the 3 again.
He had the 3.
Ryan had 9 straight, right? To make it, to bring the 58.
So he had 9 straight.
I mean, one of the things we're talking about is, as sort of Jack's getting his group together. That aggressiveness seemed to wait towards the very end of the game, right? In terms of those choices, like there were a lot of possessions that didn't necessarily touch Ryan in the first half. As Jack, as you were saying, I mean, it looked like it all came down to when it was on the line, making that shift, where there could have been more of that aggressiveness. But like you said, both teams played like ridiculous defense. The energy was unreal. And shouts to the Max D. I mean, the Max held the team that averages 77 down to a 60-point game. And it was going to be a matter of points.
Look, I also think maybe we should have pressed early. We should have sped it up. But then at the end of the day, it's tomato. Hindsight is 2020. At the end of the day, Elliott he did a great job on the scout. We didn't rotate on that shooter. We gave him wide open threes, and that's what happens. Everyone could be a little disappointed, but I'm going to say we should, as we did over the weekend, celebrate. People, Max fans, Max Nation, you shouldn't be mourning. This is a celebration of an incredible era, of two incredible once in a lifetime, and hopefully more in a lifetime. But thus far, there's never. And Ryan and in Gabe, and it's an incredible time to celebrate, look back and reflect and enjoy. And honestly, with the way this program's going, Steinmetz is going to be bringing guys back. I think next year we're going to be contenders. I think next year we're going to win Skyline, and we're going to have a first-round bid, and maybe we get lucky with the role. Maybe we get a team we match up with well. Things to look forward to. I think Zucker needs to come back with a 3-point J, and I'm going to talk to him. I went out with Zuck the other day. I didn't really get to talk ball, but I want to tell him, Gabe Leifer, his freshman year, didn't shoot a lot of threes, and then by his sophomore year, we're taking a lot of them, and it just takes some time in the gym, and I know he wants to shoot it, and I think he could. His form doesn't look bad. I just say Max Nation, celebrate the beauty of what the last 4 years were, and look forward to what's to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wait, Jack, I have a question I want to ask Ryan. Why was that step back 3 the first time we saw that shot basically in his career when it looked so pretty?
Ryan's not in the car yet. I just left to pick up Gruenberg first, then Ryan's coming downstairs. You could ask him. Ryan could do that. By the way, Ryan plays 2-on-1s when we go back home with me and another guy better than me and beats us. Ryan can do that. Ryan is I say Ryan swims on land on the basketball court. But it's also like, but he's also such a good basketball player. Like he's smart.
He's one of the biggest off-ball screeners on the offense, and which Jack got muted again.
I feel like his wife should have this technology. This is fantastic technology for her to be able to mute him. We got you muted here, Jack. We can't hear you.
To make that shot, but it also what had to do with like mind over matter. They were desperate. He wasn't thinking about the shot clock. He was just thinking, I need to shoot a 3, right? And sometimes those are the moments where you play your best, right? When the Max needed to get a stop, they turned the intensity level up. They had nothing to lose, and the other team started playing not to lose, and the Max were playing to win. That's where they started up in the D. That's where they got those stops. And that's when Ryan hit that step back, was the shot of his life.
So it was great to be there in the building for that. It was just it was unreal. I think I wanted to transition because I think obviously the fans didn't. You guys had the privilege and a wonderful privilege of spending Shabbos with the team. Talk a little bit about it. We saw a post, later after Shabbos saying really, I think Elliott mentioned that the team really sort of was consoling him, versus the other way around. But can you talk to us about the mood Shabbos, the Shabbos mood at the hotel?
It was beautiful. The mood of Shabbos, again, was one that I just mentioned to you guys, but I think the team is the ones who brought it to me. It was one of celebration of an incredible ride, an incredible journey, an incredible time. One where we're with a bunch of brothers who love each other, who just went to war and back, and everyone was just sharing war stories and battle stories. They were singing, they were hugging, and Gav Landau's dad, Mr. Landau, if you could hear me, made the best point. He said, "Hey man, this weekend would have stunk if they won, because they wouldn't be. Everyone would be like, all right, on to the next one, really focused and real, But it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of love in the air. The guys were every member of the team were at the table together. Nobody was somber. And the guys, all the parents were there. I think it was just exciting. I think the one person there who took it the hardest, in my opinion, was Coach Steinmetz, where he said on Facebook that 4 years ago he told the guys not to be somber, and they were. Where this Shabbos, I feel like he took that the hardest, and I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but my feeling of what the aura is, maybe he felt like he felt disappointed as a coach that you have a situation like this and you don't go further, and you always would feel disappointed as a coach when you don't hit the expectations that you have for yourself and your team. He's done a tremendous job with these boys. He's done a tremendous job in putting these guys together. And Doc Rivers said it the best. It's a lot easier coaching the team that no one believes in than the team that everyone expects in. You know what I'm saying? Like, Doc Rivers had a much funner time coaching those 02 McGrady Magic that all of a sudden they're in the playoffs and everyone's exciting than the 09 Celtics where it's championship or bust. The Clippers post Chris Paul was a lot funner than Chris, and easier to coach than the Clippers after. I think Elliott is a great coach. I think year after year he makes adjustments according to his roster. I'm sure everyone, everyone's Captain Hindsight, including myself. I've made a lot, I've said my own tidbits where I thought this should go here and this should go there, but I think next year they'll be back. I think they'll be really good. And the mood at Shabbos, I just think was one of love. Kiddush Hashem, the guys, it was just beautiful to be there.
That's amazing. I mean, listen, as a coach, I think in general, as a coach, you take it hard because it's not even about you, right? You wanted more for the guys that you love, right? As a coach, you kind of put yourself and put the burden on yourself probably more than anybody else. So it's amazing to hear that the players were there to support Coach Steinmetz, who again was incredible with the scout, incredible with everything, but really just an incredible person and an incredible example for everybody in Max Nation. That was awesome to see.
I mean, listen, next year they'll have Xavier Sammet. I don't know if you guys, I'll give you a little tidbit on Xavier Sammet to get you guys excited for the Samster.
Are you breaking recruiting news here? Are we breaking news?
No, dude, this is no news breaking. This is just Jack going off the cuff. But Sam Mester Z is what I call him. We're in a rec league. Last summer, me, Justin Hode, R.A. Halpert. That's 3 max, right? 3 guys who play on the team, played on the team, right? And Zevi Shamit was playing with a team of geriatrics, all right? Older guys, maybe run the shul, played in 1989. He even went to my bris that morning, and I had a few shots of tequila. Ryan's like, this guy is the guy. He's the top yeshiva league guy. He's playing you tonight. Took a nice shot. I was like, boy, you wait, never seen. I start talking my mouth to him. He had 50 points. He pulled up from half. He beat us by 45. Lior Hodes showed to the game and never went to another one of my games. Zevi Shamit annihilated us. We threw everything at him. I covered him, embarrassed me. Halper covered him, scored at will. double team with Justin and me, scored at will. This kid is the real deal. He could pull up from half. He's got handle. He could drive. He's with him, Lasco, who I think will come back. No, I just think he will. Again, he hasn't told me a thing, but I just think he will. And, I think this team's got a really good team next year. Ofek, one more year. I'd like to see Ofek with a consistent knockdown J. That's obviously probably his offseason goal. We're going to be back, baby. Max Space is going to be back with a kid in the league. That's my prediction. We'll have a kid on the New York Knicks, and the boys coming to the Knicks game to MSG to watch an alma mater, a Yeshiva Maccabee, playing at MSG. I think they're going to be a good team. And not only that,
Are we sure Shauna Bet isn't getting Samet?
Huh?
Are we sure Shauna Bet isn't getting Samet?
They better not. I might fly over there myself.
I said, let us know what kiddush we have to sponsor. Samet comes from, by the way, wonderful yichus. Wonderful yichus. Those of us who played or know either Benji or Nati Samet and all these guys. He has a wonderful, wonderful family with people. I think on the West Coast as well as the East Coast. So we're big Samet fans.
He's a great kid.
You can check him out on YouTube. I think there's a video of him hitting like 93 out of 100 threes.
Say that again.
So there's a nice video compilation out there. He hit something like 90 or something out of 100 threes he takes. But
yeah, hey guys, I got some news.
Whoa!
We got the one, the only, in the back seat.
He doesn't kick you out and make and drive himself.
What up,
What's up, Brian?
What up, Brian?
Guys.
This is the Hakarat Hatov episode where we give thanks. So the opportunity to give plenty of thanks and love to you directly is a tremendous opportunity.
Oh, I appreciate it. Guys, I don't know if you noticed, but every time has some kind of technical malfunction, but it's part of the Murphy's Law that controls my life. Right, here you go. What's good, fellas?
What's
I
up?
had a question. That step back three was so pretty. Why was that the first step back three we saw of your career?
That's a great question. Probably because it wasn't the best shot. It's not a high percentage look. Not something that we're looking for in our offense, but it worked that time.
Good response.
It's a beautiful thing.
It was 100% look in your career so far.
That's true. You're not wrong.
So you're legend not just for your play, but also for your cheering on the bench. Is that the role you're going to play tonight? Is that the role, sort of getting the crowd excited, getting people going?
I'm coaching this rec league tonight. Right now, I'm undefeated this season. So,
what do you expect tonight? Where are you going to try to get Jack into some good situations?
Anytime that I'm going to try to get Ellie Grunberg in a pick and roll with Jack Turell. I think that's always a recipe for success.
Wait, what's a pick and roll?
Yeah, it's a rec league offense. It's something we like to do in the rec league.
No, not worthy of YU basketball.
Offense.
What's the spread? What's the spread tonight? Is it a tough matchup?
I don't know. I didn't do any scouting.
You didn't do scout? There's not a scout going on?
Definitely not. We like to run our own stuff.
Listen, what's the I know Max Nation is all in on D3 basketball. I don't know if we I know you may have gotten off camera for a second, so let us know if you can still hear us. But what about following the rest of the tournament? We're going to be I'll throw it out here first so people can know. We're going to have Pete Lambesis on the show on Wednesday.
I love it.
I know you're going on the QCast. Are you going to be following the rest of the tournament? I mean, in ways you can. Obviously, Friday night Shabbos games don't make it easy.
Right. I'm going to be watching what I can. I'm a big fan of March Madness, whether it's D3, D2, or D1. So I'm definitely be tuning into those games. I know a lot of those teams, and we played Illinois Wesleyan, so I'm curious to see how they do. I know they're very good and very well coached. So I'll be following them for sure.
Yeah, we got God willing, we'll be able to have Pete join us. We may have some other folks join us on Wednesday. I mean, just to talk to him, hear the thesis of Lambesis, as Ari would say, and hear a little bit about sort of the tournament. Listen, like you said, this is the best time of year in that regard. You got the Sunday selection show for D1 at the same time as you're going to probably do a Hoopsville preview on the Final Four for D3.
Right.
It's going to be, like it's as we would say, it's Hanukkah in March, or as some would say, Christmas in July. But that's the we
There
do.
you go. Hanukkah in March, baby. I like it.
We're gonna we heard you met a special guest that we're gonna start to plug her GoFundMe, that you were able to take a picture. We saw a picture of you and Karen Logan, Kay Logan, who was able to sort of see the Max up close, was on her bucket list. And you took she shared a beautiful picture. And I think she was I remember she was in the press conference room, and I was just amazed to see her. She's someone who's going through breast cancer and breast cancer recovery. Can you talk just a little bit? We're gonna plug her GoFundMe in a little bit and try to get Max Nation to shout and support her. But what was that like? And maybe some of the stories that you like this probably happen more often than we know.
Listen, she said her dream was to see the YU Max. I'm glad she was able to come out and see us. It's just unbelievable and humbling when someone says that's their dream and that's something they always wanted to do. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the dub for her, but I'm just happy she got to see us.
Yeah, she's an amazing woman with an amazing story, and again, we're going to try to highlight her a little bit here. I think we can get some great support again, as people are looking, obviously, of things to do with their Purim charity as well. They're good opportunities to share, and really, that's what the Max Nation and really what the Jewish people are all about, right? Is helping out people in need. It's been a tremendous zechus to watch you guys play, to watch the team. What can you keep, right? Max fans aren't going anywhere. We're going to go right here. I want to know if there's any, is Mama Turell, are we going to see her at games?
Right.
That's what I want to know. Are we going to?
One more thing to say. Ryan, also, it was my son's first game at the Max game. We couldn't plan a win for Jack Jr.
Jack, on that note, I will say, being live there, it was tough to alternate between watching you holding your son and actually watching the action on the court. I'm not sure which part made me nervous. I don't know how the playbook worked, that you were nominated to hold your own child in the last 5 minutes. But
Fans an image of what it may look like. It was me holding an 8-month-old while yelling, "Ref, what are you doing?"
All I remember
would be an
is
accurate description. Yes.
In 2007, when I had my first, and we was holding my daughter when the Lakers won the championship, I believe in 2007, because she couldn't have been a year and a half old. But I almost spiked her. I kind of I totally forgot where I was for a minute. It's dangerous. You got to be careful when you hold kids and you're watching sporting events. I think when it was our test, maybe hitting the 3 in one of those games, that I was it went a little nuts. So you got to be careful with the children.
Oh yeah, no, I think there should be a helmet requirement for any dads holding babies during a sporting event.
I saw the baby beats. The baby beats are always good for the event. Protect the ears. Always important. But yeah, everyone was excited. I know all the kids. My daughter was like, "Can we hold him? Can we?" They were just excited to see, again, a small Max fan always gets the crowd excited.
Always do, and we would have let him. I'll tell you what, that last play, I couldn't. I'm so glad that Carly P, Zuck's sister, was nominated to hold him. When Ryan I've been saying it all season, and a lot of things I've been banging home is if we can keep it close, I like our chances because we have number 11. Something I've said on the halftime, I've said on the pregame, I've said on the broadcast, and I think last game is exactly a situation where you see why. 10 was close. Ryan, we had the best player. He had those 9 straight points. He had the ball with 15 seconds and got a shot that he's made. It's like his shot, right? The up and under. And that's
but I'll tell you what, even though I was confident that he was going to get the shot he wanted, I have never been more nervous. So I'm glad that Sister Zucker nominated herself, and just what an incredible, fun season and a great game to end. I'll tell you why it wasn't somber, I think also, and I said this to all the kids in the weekend. It's much better to have a 2-point loss where you fought tooth and the very last minute than having a 12. Just kind of feel underwhelmed. Sure, it was underwhelming in the first half. We felt like we were the better team. I thought we looked like the better team. But to see us bounce all the way and have a chance to win the game with 15 seconds left, I mean, the Hopkins guys everyone was just a better feeling, and knowing that you went out swinging is the way to. It's probably why it felt better.
Listen, it felt like the MSAC or even greater. I mean, that last minute of the game, the fans, the Royal fans. I don't know if you guys saw. We were talking about it before, and I don't know which team was there, but it was either Stockton or Wilson that was under our basket that was also going crazy. I don't know if you guys saw that or were able to appreciate the moment, but I forget which team it was, but they were going nuts. They were into it just with the fans. It was unreal.
Yeah, I didn't see it during the game, but after the game, like when I rewatched it, I watched it about 5 times now. I definitely saw those guys getting into it.
The fans, I mean, it was really an incredible moment, and being able to get to that point. Like I said, Ryan, you may have, if you had hit that shot, you may have seen half and went to overtime. You may have seen half the gym leave. We had like a caravan of people from Teaneck, checking their watches for Shabbos and whether they were going to make it back in time. So they were like, "No, we got to go for a 3 here. We can't get to overtime." It was just a funny situation in terms of sort of what was going on, but it was tremendous, and it can't replace being there in person.
Feel that, yeah. It was a wonderful atmosphere. It's unbelievable, the way Max fans just travel no matter where we play, and before Shabbos, after Shabbos, they're going to be there. It doesn't matter, and we're just grateful as players and to play in front of a crowd like that.
Jack, I got to throw something out to you, Jack.
I'm listening.
I got the hype squad who I had the pleasure of driving them to the game and then hanging out with over Shabbos in Cherry Hill is wondering if sometime when it's warmer weather, if we could have you and the family out to somewhere in Teaneck at a shul, maybe throw a kiddush and have you come out. Would you be open to that?
Are you kidding me? That's the golden age of Jack Turell, baby. Kiddush, weather, hype squad. Sign us up, baby. I love it.
All right. We'll come back to you on that. These ninth graders. I got to spend Shabbos with 4 ninth graders. It was awesome.
Say this about those kids. They're great kids. They're such menches. They're so excited. Their energy is infectious. Being around them brings the inner. It reminds me what it was like to be a youngster and a fan again, and have role models, and just have their energy is infectious. When I sit in that section, I'm in ninth grade again, and I just have so much fun with those kids.
Yeah, dude, I think you took a player to the face in one of those games.
Max Leibowitz, yeah, he drop kicked me in the nose. I went to save the ball with my hands, which is totally illegal. And I think he saw my hands out and thought that was me going, "Oh, I'll catch you." And as it was going, I was going, "No."
Listen, I'm sure with your family history, I'm sure that's not the first time you caught Max Leibowitz.
Max and Ryan are the ones who used to scuffle. I was always too big. I was always much older. But yeah, I think that was tough. Yeah, right. Max is one of my favorite guys. What a mensch. What a great family. Great wife.
As we go through the season highlights, that was one of the highlights of the season. The way that Max Nation came out for Max on senior night and the game that he had, that was unreal. One of the highlights of the season for sure.
I told this to Max. A lot of people say that, and present company included, yeah, no, bro, if I would have gotten the finish, bro, look out. Like, I would have been the guy. A lot of people say that, and they can't. Max is the guy who absolutely contributed, and in the minutes he played, I thought was excellent. I thought he would have definitely helped us in that championship game in terms of rotating defensively and hitting an open shot. I thought he could have helped us. I hope he comes back because I think he could be. He's mature, smart, tough, to pick up fast guards full court, which is a weakness of ours. Again, hindsight 2020. I hope, Max, that you come back and major in dance theory like Athon did, so we can have you again. I thought he's excellent.
Ryan, your dad wants to ask you. Ask us.
Also, here he gives the best Divrei Torah on the Max.
He does. He doesn't give a great
Here,
Dvar
Max
Torah.
gives the best Divrei Torah.
What's the question?
I said your dad wants us to ask Ryan about the Johns Hopkins game. Again, I don't know that we want to keep going there, but the floor is yours if there's anything you want to share. Again, I would never keep it of aim. We got your dad asking for it.
Yeah, I mean they're a really talented team and well coached team. And they executed. They did well. I thought we did a great job on Delaney. I thought we did a great job, on their other guys, the guys that we thought, we needed to lock down. I felt like we locked down, but when Carson James goes 7 for 10 from 3, what are you gonna do? If he goes 6 for 10, we may win that game. But he went 7 for 10, so it is what it is.
Was there any point in the game where the thought was, listen, maybe we sort of switch you off Delaney and go to James? There was one play where I saw you, I'll be honest, in the second half, where I think the ball got trapped on the right side, and both Corey was actually in at that time, and James, they were both spotting up from 3. Corey was on the wing and James was in the corner, and I saw you sprint back and forth from Corey to James like twice in the same possession. It was a crazy, and I think we ended up getting the turnover in that possession.
Right, he stepped out of bounds there.
But was there anything like, was there any sort of thought to, because I know it was like, listen, we got to get him locked down, but obviously you don't want to leave Delaney.
Yeah,
or give him off.
So with 8 minutes to go, and when he had 23 points, that's when I switched onto him. But by then it felt he did his damage. And I thought Aton did a really good job in Delaney in the second half. At the end of the day, they shot really well from 3, and we didn't rotate great. All things that you could see on film, but at the end of the day, you got to give your hats off to Carson James and Hopkins for beating us.
Yeah, that 6 to 12 in the second half from 3 and starting that way was, basically I think
about the other side of the ball. So did their defensive game plan surprise you?
Say that again.
Did their defensive game plan surprise you? Like really trying to take away the good shooters and really tagging off the rest?
I mean, we kind of expected teams to play us like that, and we said the back door would be open. And if you watch the film, the back door is open. It is what it is. We still could have executed better. We knew we had to speed up the pace, and if we played the game in the 60s, it would be, a down to the wire game. So we definitely could have done a better job pushing the pace, but it is what it is.
So we're gonna bring
Dad
up.
wants to know who are the top 5 players you played against this year?
Who are the top 5 players that I've played against? Do you think the purchase guy from last year, like 2 years ago, was in the top 5 players you played against in D3? Elijah Lott. That guy could straight play.
Yeah, it was great.
Top 5 players we played against this year. Layritz got to be up there. He was phenomenal. I think Dan Porchik from Mount St. Vincent is a really good player. He had D1 offers and played D2. He's up there. And Delaney, although we played really well, we guarded him really well. He's an All-American and well-deserved All-American. So he's we're on the Ball Habatim podcast, my brother.
Party in the car. I like this. We've got like a Seinfeld vibe here. We're doing like,
So I would say those are the top 3 guys that we've played against this year.
Who's played you the best this year? I mean, like who like straight up one-on-one defender? Not that there's anyone that can shut you down, but like who was the toughest matchup?
I thought, obviously, Lambesis did a great job, and I thought Powell from Farmingdale, he did a great job. We've been playing against him for a while, and he also did a great job. I would say those 2.
Tremendously both physical, really physical players.
Yeah.
That was great to see. So I know you guys are headed to the game. We appreciate it. Who else is in the car? We want to give shouts to the whole team. It's gonna be a rec league domination tonight.
Yeah, no, we got. Well, first of all, we got Ellie Grunberg,
What's up, Ellie?
MTA legend. He happened to. Fun fact: he happened to beat Eitan Halpert on his home court and outplayed him. Shout out Eitan Halpert, love you, my guy. Yeah, he's gonna try out for YU next year. We'll see how he does in this rec league tonight. Yeah. Avi Kozlowski, you got anything to promote? He's the runner of the #1 adult Jewish basketball league in New York City, Young Israel, West Side basketball at CCNY. You got anything to partake?
Well, you kids are all welcome. It's fun league. 16 teams, 8 guys per team, a lot of top talent.
Shia Weiss is in it, Joe Amar, myself, Gabe Leifer in there. Yeah, we're trying to get Gabe in there.
It may be busy season for Gabe. I'm not sure.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but you know, Gabe talked to me over the weekend. We're rec leaguing it up. He's joining all my teams.
So we just showed Ryan. We showed the 360 slow motion 360 layup to the folks watching. Can you just tell us what's going through your, like, do you make that decision before the play? Like, how does that come to be?
Yeah, I had no clue I was doing that. I just drove really hard to the basket and kind of cut me off in a way where I couldn't, power. If I didn't want to show him the ball where he can rip it. And so he cut me off in a way where I just kind of had to turn. I just kind of turned out of the way as I'm in the air and, flipped it up and in. I really didn't think I was going to do that. And I didn't think it was, I didn't think I did it until I watched the film.
Ryan,
the best part is at the end of that play, he has no idea what, like, his face is like, what just happened? He's looking the other way and he just takes it nonchalantly. But again, definitely surprised a whole lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something you plan. It just happens.
Ryan, this is a part of your game that I don't think people talk about enough, but definitely for the next level, you should put it on your resume. But when you come off the court, you are the Theo Pinson on the bench, which is not great because you should really be resting and not jumping up and down and trying to pump up the crowd. But it's a good skill to have.
Lost you for a second. What did you say?
I said it's one thing that people don't talk about your game, but when you come off to officially rest, you become the Theo Pinson on the bench. You're the pump up guy, and I'm sure the coaches would prefer you to be sitting down and resting. But it's a good skill to have to be able to be the pump up guy and the starter.
No, absolutely. I mean, you can't control everything. You can't control your minutes, but you can always control your energy and how good of a teammate you could be. And so if you're on the bench, when guys are on the bench, they're cheering for me, and I want to do the same thing for them when I go on the bench. So
I'm putting out the challenge now. We need a guy for next year, a full-time committed guy, meaning he's got to be able to do the handshakes, everything. We need a full guy. Maybe it's got to be a freshman, who's just a new recruit who's got to get the full handshakes, the warm-up lines, and some 3-point shooting arrows. We need a full-time pump-up guy.
Listen, it could be Ellie Grunberg. You never know. It could be a guy sitting in the car. You never know.
Listen, send in the videotape. One last question. I know you guys are going to go. Talk to us about, because I think as we're going through highlights, right, and thankful things for the season, and there's so many of them, honestly. That alley-oop in the championship game, right? Yeah. What are you? You're how do you let Gabe know you're shouting at him? You're there, like, again, you can see like, how does that play develop?
So I see Gabe in front of me, and I was trailing the whole time, and I said up once, maybe twice, and I didn't think he heard me, and I thought for sure he's going up for this dunk, or for sure he's going up for this layup. I don't think he scored a point to that time.
To that point, nope.
No, that just sums up Gabe Leifer. But the ball goes up in the air, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he actually threw it. I gotta go get it. Like, I had no clue that ball was going up, and it went up, and he threw the most perfect pass. That could have been that could have been thrown. It was just a perfect lob. I had the one thing I had to say that play, and I've said this before, but it was 4 years of those two guys playing with each other day in and day out, culminated into one play. It felt like everything was the 4 years of those two playing with each other led up to that moment, which was really cool to watch.
Well, hopefully you've watched that play 100 times, and to me, again, what I always see is, and being there in person also to be able to see that, was the smiles on both your faces after that play. And then I think it was like you got a turnover on the next play, and then come down to the 3, and then a timeout. And even after that timeout, you guys are going over each other and like high-fiving, and it was just unreal to watch.
It was just an unbelievable play, and Eton threw a very necessary outlet pass.
A huge hockey assist.
It was,
Perfect outlet.
he got it and fired it and threw a perfect pass to Gabe, who threw a perfect pass to me, and it was just fun. It was a great time, and it was just an amazing play.
Is that what you have drawn up for tonight? Are we going to see that out of a timeout?
I don't know if anybody on my rec league can on the rec league team can dunk, but I'm sure Jack is going to try.
Please, if he does, please slow motion video.
If Jack dunks tonight, I $200 to Hutzola. We're donating $200 to Hutzola.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That would be because he pulled his hamstring on the way up.
I think you might right. That might be the cost of the actual stay.
It's not even
room.
It's not even covering the ambulance bill.
No, it's not. It is not. But
I think if you call Javerim, you might be able to get it going. Well, guys, we wish you a
Ryan,
tremendous amount of
what
luck.
does the rest of the year look like for you in terms of prepping for the next level, graduating?
We'll see what goes on next year. I'm not 100% sure, what I'm doing, but I'm just going to be training and just trying to get better every day.
Awesome. Hopefully in the classes as well. I mean, it's kind of, we were talking about last night how interesting it is, right? Meaning, you finish a professional team, right, and you go home, right? Yeah. Here you finish your season and you're back at school with the same people, classes the next 2-3 months.
Exactly.
It's hopefully the experience stays tremendously positive all through the end.
100%. Got to finish off school and do well, and now I get to focus on my classes a little more. So yeah, I got to catch up on a few of those. We were gone for the weekend, and yeah.
And hopefully we will not see you playing Thursday night, Saturday night ball in the MSAC. Please take care of yourself. Continue to coach them up. But I'm sure the people around you are giving you some advice there too. But it's been tremendous. Again, we can't thank you enough. This is the Hakarat Hatov episode. Thank you, thank the whole team. Honestly, thank the entire Turell family. I mean, everybody in your family has added and increased the simcha and the joy of Max basketball. And we hope that that's not going to end here. We hope that will continue. And but it's going to go down stuff of legend for a long time to come. So thank you guys so much. Please, everyone, be safe. Get Hutzola on standby. Call Hutzola now, maybe.
Yeah, they're going to be on standby at that game. Last plug, by the way, Zion basketball for those with kids from 3rd to 8th grade. I'm a coach on the up-and-coming AAU program, Zion basketball. We just won the championship.
Yeah, that's where you were Sunday of the championship game, right? That's where you were.
It's funny. So I had a number of the kids are obviously fans of Max, and the parents were going up to me. They're like, "So, what are we doing about the game?" And I said, "What do you mean? We're showing up to our championship." Obviously, it was hard for me to go to miss that championship game, but it's about sending, showing the commitments, showing what it's really about. Is when you make commitments, you got to stick to them, and we pulled out with a championship.
Well, I'll tell you, just so you know it, you may not have heard, I was sitting with the hype squad that game, and when they found out where you were, you sort of shot up another 100 levels in their book. So it's not just in theory, it pays out. They had mad respect for that move.
How you doing, man? You got to take care of business.
They also said something like, "Yeah, Jack knows we have this game in the books, anyways." But still, mad respect. Hype squad gave you there.
Absolutely, Zion basketball.
Awesome. Where is that out of? Where's Zion in
That's in New Jersey.
I've heard of it. It's a nice little town. Awesome. We appreciate it, guys. Keep the plugs. We'll keep
Thank you
talking
guys
to
so
you.
much.
Keep it going. But thank you.
Thank you.
Really, just thank you.
Hey, thank you guys, and awesome job on this podcast. I love it. I've seen every episode. You guys do a wonderful job, and thank you for all the support.
Yeah, it'll keep going. We can't tell you how much that means. We're just a bunch of guys, as Ari would say, goofing
Our
around,
pleasure.
and we'd be doing this anyways. So this is just fun for us, and if we can help extend the Kiddush Hashem to more people and sort of spread the love, then we've done some of our job. It's awesome. I hope to talk to you guys soon. Enjoy the game. Again, be safe. Don't get injured. Stretch. All good things. Poppers will have it on video, so just meet him there.
So, yeah, Max Live will be there. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Awesome. Like most of the season that we've done, we can never you never know what's going to happen on the Ball Habatim. You never know sort of who's going to come, who's going to show, who's going to stay forever. It looks like, but it's just unreal. As we transition,
Jack can't leave us.
you can't. He's too tied to it.
I don't know how to leave.
It's all good. He's the man. That was something incredibly special, honestly, to have to be able to talk to Ryan. By the way, Ryan will be, and I'm not sure if it's live. Shua, do you know if it's live, the QCast? But I think Ryan is going to be on the QCast with Bob Quillman tomorrow. But I'm not sure if it's live or just something he releases afterwards. But please, everyone should check that out.
Just used up used up his good material
Historically,
tonight.
he just released it. I think Bob's more professional than us. He likes to edit before putting it out there.
Yeah. So questions about some folks we have. People are wondering where Ari is. Listen, I don't know if people know how much time it takes. Like Ari goes into a room by himself for 3 weeks to come up with those intros. So he can't be on every episode. He's got to, he does in front of the mirror, in front of the kids. He's got to practice. To be Ari Lamb is a tough job. Matt Snyder in the chat. Calvin, by the way, we should definitely replay at some point. Throw it back onto Twitter. The place where Matt walked out after the Calvin picks on our show the other week, and now he's got the last laugh. Calvin in the Sweet 16. Hopefully that's where you'll be, for that pod. But wow, I mean, listen, if anybody sort of turned off D3 basketball after the Max lost on Friday, they have missed some unreal basketball, some unreal endings to games, as you would expect in any March Madness. But really, individual performances, team performances, great coaching calls. Some that worked. Some that Oshkosh play at the end of the game. For those of us old enough to remember Homer Drew and Bryce Drew at Valpo, I'm blown away, constantly blown away. Not surprised anymore. Not surprised even back then, but constantly blown away by the basketball that's being played. Shu, I don't know if you or Yaakov watched any of the basketball or saw any of the results.
Yes.
I know Shabbos makes it fun.
The Emory Wabash game was amazing. That ending was incredible.
You got
Jack
two
Davidson
premier
first
players,
ball.
right? You got two premier players
Final
with Schneer and Jack Davidson going at each other.
Yeah. That was incredible. They had a putback dunk attempt to take for the win, and then a layup after that. I think they missed them both. The Case Western Oshkosh obviously was amazing. The IW Wisconsin Eclair was amazing.
The lacrosse, yeah, they got that back on the lacrosse game. They got that back. There was a tight game up until they started pulling away a little bit, but not by much. Towards the end of the game, it was as we've come to expect from our adopted surrogate team, Illinois Wesleyan. That's kind of how they play. They sort of grind it out. Cody Mitchell hitting a ridiculous 3 towards the end of the game there. No, just incredible basketball being played. Shouts to Ariel with his bracket for D3, looking very solid. All 4 Final Four teams still intact, very unlike my bracket. And I believe he's got 6 of 8 Elite Eights, and I think he hit correctly on 11 of 16, if not more, of his Sweet 16 picks. So great bracket for Ariel. Well, maybe we'll do it. We'll do an episode about his his methodology at some point in time. But Ariel, part of the Ball Habatim, really delivering on the D3 bracket. I think that's an area of opportunity for us guys. I feel like no one is really doing enough with the D3 bracket. D3 hoops, I think, used to do something, but that may be a white space that we start to play in, as the Macs are perennially part of the NCAA tournament now. I think they get grandfathered in for the next 5 years, no matter what happens. The questions about Pool C will start in 3 weeks, about whether or not the Macs will make Pool C going forward. So as we transition, right, and start to sort of share a little bit of some Hakaras Hatov, do you guys have any? I know we want to share. I'm going to wait till Mayer's back to help us in terms of what we can put on screen, Yaakov, as we share about Karen Logan and share her story a little bit, and sort of opportunities to be able to help. But let's talk the Hakaras Hatov point, right? What are some of the things that you are thankful for? Any sort of interactions that you may have had, at this point in time, interactions throughout the season that really strike the Hakaras Hatov chord with you?
Yeah, I mean, the big picture, obviously it's not just this year, it's been the past 3 years or 4 years at this point, is it was nice to finally be a school that we could do this with. You meet people all the time who love Michigan football and Penn State, and they have the football, the basketball, and the one thing that these guys have in common is the fact that they love this team. And we finally got to experience it. Not that we didn't like YU before, but the fandom for YU basketball was rather limited. This Shabbos, the entire Kiddush talk at Shul was about the basketball game. That is something I never thought I'd experience with my alma mater. So for that sort of joining in, and not just people who went to YU, there's just Jews got on board, and that's sort of the cross section of the Jewish people and YU, and and the area that we live in. But just everyone getting on board and being excited for something that you have been excited about for years was great to experience. And obviously, when the season really got going, it was pretty compact. Having appointment viewing 2-3 nights a week, where you really felt part of it was a great experience.
No, definitely the talk of didn't expect that feeling. Same thing as well, right? Didn't feel that. It was kind of weird, but kind of amazing, right? To have people sort of pulling you off to the side and asking about Max basketball. I'll tell you, I spent Shabbos and really incredible Hakaras Hatov to the Cherry Hill community, who took myself, and I said in the hype squad in, sight unseen, just reached out to the community. They were able to find meals and housing for us at sort of a last minute request, middle of the week, and everybody went there. It was like, talk to us. They didn't know about it, but they wanted to know about it. And once they heard about it, they were excited. I said, I told Shua before, had the Max won on Friday, I think we would have Pied Pipered about 200 to 300 Cherry Hill attendees to the game to pack up Stockton University. So that again, we experienced it all season long, where you just show up to a community or a conversation, and somebody would again, I have to talk them down and be like, no, I'm not a YouTube star. We're not a thing. This is just a bunch of people goofing off. Let me explain what it is. But really, they were just so excited to see the relevance, right, of Jewish basketball and Jewish pride, and mixed with Kiddush Hashem. It was just it was a tremendous experience.
Yeah, I think people like the whole Turell conversation and the amount of national media that it got this year, which sort of added an extra flavor to it. I think people that don't really know are sort of stunned when I explain to them the Elliot Jacob Steinmetz connection. Also, it seems like a little too much good Jewish luck at the same time.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 6 degrees of separation, and I think it's like no degrees of separation.
Zero degrees, yes.
Shua, what are some of the things that as you sort of look in this season from a macro view that gets you sort of just to be thankful? I know you have obviously a tremendous connection to the Macs and their coaches, and a number of things that just sort of gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll start. So I went to YU 2012 to 2016. So I remember the team before Elliott arrived, no one really went to games. And I think they were like 5-20 in 2012, 2013, something like that. And then Elliott showed up and still like not a lot of people were going to games, but in the gym, you can see the scoreboard from the weight room. And I would see that a lot of games were closer and YU was in a lot more games. And then fast forward to my senior year, we had our first home playoff game, which we beat Purchase in, which was an awesome experience. And then the next season, Gabe comes second half. They go on an incredible run, upset Farmingdale in the semifinals, make it to the first round of the tournament, and had a disappointing loss, obviously in that one. But that was an unexpected, incredible run. And like after that, you already start to see like fan change. I was already super into the Max. The next season started out, I think, 1-5, but then reeled off like 17 in a row, lost a heartbreaker in the Skyline Conference Championship. And then the next season obviously was the 29-1, which we made the Sweet 16, which was just incredible. And this season was also 25, I think it was 25-4. Just an unbelievable performance, which was just a pleasure to watch. And like what you guys said, like having an alma mater you can actually cheer for there's like it's a different experience from being a typical like a sports fan of a hometown team. There's like a different level of connection, and to get to experience that with UC University is just an amazing feeling and something I'm super thankful for.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I think what I hope people realized is that it doesn't just have to be on a team, right, that wins 50 straight games, and has this level of caliber of talent, right? That seeing this community come together and support YU, hopefully that is something, as someone said it best, after the IW game, right? That sound you hear is all the people jumping off the bandwagon. I'm sure there's plenty of that, right? I'm sure there's going to be plenty of that going on, but I think if people realize what this is at its
They'll miss
core,
out.
exactly. I think they'll miss out. They'll miss out on the specialness and the bonds that were created. Again, being at the games and just seeing, as Jack said, the kids of all ages really coming out and support. Hopefully, that is something that will continue throughout the seasons. As you heard, there may be some talent coming, and hopefully even more talent that you'll see from a recruiting standpoint in the coming weeks and months. That YU isn't going anywhere. Right, they're staying at the top of the skyline, and that always bodes well, both for the university, but also for the skyline. And even with tough teams, I mean, Farmingdale is going to be great. I mean, it's a lot of young talent. They're going to be great moving forward. Mount St. Vincent as well. So I think you're going to see some good talent, and they're going to press us and push us, and we're going to push them, and hopefully that will continue to be some tournament bursts going forward over the next couple of years. We know Elliott's going to bring his game in terms of just the coaching people and having people buy into the system, and it's going to be incredible. So we may not see a generational talent like Ryan, or we may see teams, right, that can still play well, incredibly well, even without that generational talent.
I think no matter what happens, hopefully the team is good. Hopefully the team's amazing again. But I think at least for the next few years, and hopefully forever, you're going to see a packed house and a real crowd that's into it. I think it's definitely going to be a real identity from YU that, the basketball team has something to do when you're on campus. And I think you're going to see that. And I think it's going to make the entire basketball experience exciting there.
Yeah.
And we got coming up. Oh,
don't worry, we are not going to be bad. We might have some growing pains next year, but I expect the program to continue to produce great teams for many years to come.
Awesome. So let us jump. I just want to highlight, and I believe we'll see. This is technology, sort of coming at sort of. I'm sure it's gonna. Let's see if it works at this time. Hopefully, you guys can see my screen. I want to share. I want to direct everybody. Everybody, please help us support Kay Logan. That's Karen Logan. She, as Ryan mentioned, fighting a long battle with cancer, and she was able to get off her bucket list being at a Max game in person. You see here, hopefully you can see my screen a little bit, but check out the Ball Habatim tweet on Twitter, which will also share, the GoFundMe where you can help support Kay, and I'll throw that into the YouTube chat as well. But please, obviously, that will disappear after we're done with the show. So please, it's tremendous. Again, if this is not just about basketball, right? If we can use this as an opportunity to make anybody's lives better, it's tremendous.
Yes, sir.
And I'll throw
I
that
second
down.
everything now.
Guys, we have, right before we even get to next season, right? There's a fun little. We're definitely not experts on it, but I think we're going to get into it a little bit. There's a fun little tournament that's coming up that hasn't been at YU for a number of years, right? Where we get to see some of these talented ball players. So I don't know if anybody feels comfortable enough talking about Sarachek and sort of what we hope to see during Sarachek, but it's always been an incredible opportunity for not the YU basketball team, for the players that are there, for the YU community, and for everyone to see good basketball and to see some of the players that might be coming down the pike.
Yeah, Sarachek should be fun, and hopefully we'll see some exciting players who are in the pipeline.
It's funny, but Sarachek used to be the crowd, meaning YU basketball got a few people. Sarachek, the gym was packed, the campus was electric. I think now that you basically have the end of the YU season leading into that, and the fact that it hasn't happened, I guess it's 3 years at this point, and they seem to be inviting any team in the country that's willing to come. It's going to be really exciting. It's great that they're going to have a real Max Live broadcast cover it, and I think we'll give a lot of these people who want to continue to follow along with YU, what to look forward to, what to talk about. I know we'll definitely be doing it. Can't say I'm too educated on the teams. I could always sort of guess which locations are probably bringing good teams. Florida, Chicago, and LA usually manage to put up some good teams, but there's always some wild cards also. And I don't know if there's that year, sometimes there's that year where you get that like special player, obviously the most famous one being the Tamir Goodman year. But even when I was in YU, there was a year where a guy was just running through Sarachek, and it always makes it extra exciting. And especially now that we know we have a chance of getting him, it makes it an extra element of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be, I believe it's going to be very, because some of the breaks, some of these teams had usually sort of the best teams in the Yeshiva League get in. I don't know if there's an automatic process. By the way, there should be a place for schools like the school out in Seattle, right, who was able to make it to their, I believe, Final Four. I think they lost in the semifinals. They may have won the third place game. But again, would love to see more of those schools being brought in and brought out. But a lot of, I believe, Yeshiva League local teams, maybe even 10 or so local teams in this year's group. But it should be tremendous basketball. I know Max Live, like you said, was also the biggest draw for Max Live. Those were where the numbers came out tremendously. If I give one of the other sides of Akaras Hatov, by the way, and you mentioned it, I know people mentioned, I mentioned in a post earlier about the families and just loving seeing the families. Right? It's not just the fans that didn't come out, Shu, as you mentioned, between 12 and 16 and some of the things, and then starting to get families and other folks come out. They really set the tone for the fans and engagement of the fans, and it's just amazing. I mean, I hope we continue to see them, but if folks like the Morty Lifer and Mrs. Turell and all the folks that really make it, like, it's really not a basketball game until you see them. And again, tremendous. The entire Lifer family, the Lasco family, Matan's family, Alone's family, all the folks that came out, Ofek's family. I mean, again, tremendous. I apologize, I don't have some of the Landows a lot. Towards the end, it doesn't matter where you were in terms of playing for the team. If people were able to go, they went. It did make me give my parents a call. I'm not sure they came to a single game during my season at YU, but I'm sure they had better things to do. It was also, I'm sure that the traffic on GW. Yeah, traffic on GW. Max Live. Also, Max Live audio. Wasn't even around yet, so they couldn't even give that excuse. But it just made me. It's such a wonderful thing to see, and I'm sure it makes the players feel tremendously special to have their families and audience there.
We have some all-time families to replace.
Not that
We're
they
gonna-
left
we're
you
gonna
off
need
the
some new
full
people to step
NCAA
up big
stat
time.
sheet, so nobody really cared for your game.
Nothing. No stats. Not none of the thing. It didn't even really exist. Like I'm making the whole thing up. When I told my daughter, she still doesn't believe me. I also played volleyball. By the way, the only players on the volleyball
Only
team
evidence is the yearbook photo
exactly
with
the only
Elliot.
players on the volleyball team were the basketball players. So it was just a lot of it was a lot of fun back then. Shouts to Alon Jakubowicz and the volleyball team for getting a win. I think the other week versus Pratt. So hopefully we'll be able to steal some talent maybe the other way as the YU volleyball program gets ramped up. Maybe we'll steal some talent for the basketball team.
We need some big hitters.
Exactly. Do they have goons? Do we have goons in? Is it just in hockey? Can we have that in basketball? It's just tremendous. We'll get. I'm sure they're going to be the talent and to see the programs happening. I know we have some max players on the baseball team as well, including I think SJ. Right, SJ is on the baseball team.
I don't know. I know Max is on it.
I know Max is on it. I think SJ's on it as well. I'm not sure if he wears a suit to every game. I'm not sure how he sort of gets going for there. But again, Max Sports. We have the women's team, who I've been told is not the Lady Max. It's just women's basketball. They're just Max as well. Even though I think it's more regal to call them that. But again, we have some tremendous talent there. So hopefully we'll start talking about a little bit more and diving into that in the weeks to come. Want to give a plug for the Wednesday show. Before I share one story, I want to give a plug for the Wednesday show. We have a confirmed guest, a still active basketball player for Illinois Wesleyan, our wonderful adopted team. That's where all Max fandom I know is pouring their heart into supporting. So Pete Lambesis, the thesis of Lambesis himself, is set to join us on Wednesday. Again, a lot of things could happen. Obviously, he has a game coming up on Friday night, so we can talk a little bit about the tournament. The CCIW has been unreal. If I in terms of they have 3 teams in the Sweet 16 still, I believe, with Elmhurst and Wheaton as well. It's going to be tremendous. Obviously, I think the the IW matchup obviously is one of them is going to get knocked out. Just has to happen that way. But it's tremendous in terms of the Sweet 16.
Yeah, super excited to have Pete on. We've wanted him on since the IW game.
And I hope that mustache is now like, I hope it's like Raleigh Fingers. I hope it's just grown in legend along with his defensive
he
prowess.
unfortunately shaved
He's going to be taking some, I believe, if I'm not correct, sure he'll be taking a dome probably for some of that game.
Yeah, and if them and Irish wins, he'll be taking Jack Davidson the next round.
Davidson, right? That's like it'll be nuts. It'll be nuts just to see him in play. But obviously, you got to win one. You got to win one game at a time. You got to win the first one. It's not going to be an easy game. I think we won both of their games by 2 over the weekend. So again, they're used to playing in close games. They hope to have another one in the Sweet 16 round. One story I'll share with you guys just to highlight the again. And we'll maybe close out the Karsatova episode. I know we have is that on through this whole process of getting to the game on Friday, there were a lot of groups, WhatsApp groups, and things started. I probably called 20 hotels. We were gonna, spend Shabbos. We were gonna have a million of guys come out. We were gonna do all these things. So I called all around. Because of that, I had somebody reach out to me. I was happy because I was driving down. I was happy to help anybody who needed to get to the game. And I had someone reach out to me on, got my number and reached out to me on WhatsApp, connecting, needed a ride to the game. And I was like, sure, listen, I'm leaving from TNEC. Hopefully, YU student. I was like, hopefully you can get to TNEC. If you get to TNEC, it's a little over the bridge, whatever, we'll figure it out. In talking to them and sort of asking sort of who they are and what they are, what I found out, and shouts out to Joey Yellen, who was the student I was taken down. It turned out that 5 years ago, I believe, 5 years ago, my a couple of friends and I went out to see the Dodgers play in the World Series against the Houston Astros, and we stayed that weekend through connections. We stayed that weekend with his family, and now 5 years, never know. And once I realized who it was, I was like, all right, don't worry about it. I'm picking you up in the Heights. We'll figure it out. I'll figure out my schedule, but I'll drive over the bridge. I'll get you in the Heights. But the opportunity to be able to give, like I said, the Karsa Tov that we give, the experiences that we have, you never know where they're going to come out again, right? You never know where they're going to show up. So hopefully this continues to bring us all as a community much closer together, and we're able to share that experience and pay it forward, right? And that's what we've seen with this Max community is a lot of paying it forward. That's what we're hoping to do with Karen Logan. We've talked about, Justin Hardy, obviously the situation that's going on in Ukraine. There's so many opportunities to take the good that you feel, the things that you're thankful for, and channel them into opportunities for giving, opportunities for tzedakah, opportunities for chesed, and other things. And please, we encourage everybody to continue to do that.
Very well said, Nathan, and agree with everything. And that was a cool story.
It was like, all right, wow. I mean, like, I was wondering, I told him just, when my kid asks for a ride in 10 years, just remember that, we got to keep paying it forward. We'll make sure it happens. As Mayor told me to tell you, remember to hit like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. I mean, listen, the biggest Akara Sato for us outside of the Max is probably to the viewers. I mean, this is, again, a little bit ridiculous in terms of what the Ball Habatim has become. Again, not that it's, even if it was 0.1, it would still be greater than what we had thought, and that's not the goal. We're sitting here just talking. We're sitting here getting to know each other. I am incredibly thankful. Yaakov and Shua, you're on here. Mayor is off camera. Ariel, everybody that's everyone, Moshe, everybody that's been involved. Avi Schwartz. I mean, I'm really thankful for getting to know and connect with you guys. People that up until this season, I personally had not been connected with. I've been and Simi, obviously, people that I've been, and then the connections that we have, and I work with Simi's sister. It's that's the Jewish community. That's what we're here for. It's been tremendous getting to know all of you, and not just having Ari beat me in basketball, but actually getting to know him. It's just been incredible, and I'm incredible thankful for those things. We're not signing off for good, like we said. We have a Wednesday episode, but I would be remiss if I didn't give personal thanks, because this has been a tremendous outlet and really uplifting for me personally and my family.
Yeah, and I second. That's a great point you bring up. It's been just awesome to meet all of you guys and get to know some other Max fanatics like myself. I remember our early conversation got off to a rough start about certain coaches, but we turned it around.
It's very true. Very true. We had some fun. Again, I think that's the beautiful thing, right? Sharing perspectives is like, that's what a real relationship is, right? Growth only through tension, right? You can't grow unless you have tension.
Agreed. I mean, it made the season all that more fun.
Yeah, I was just trying to get you to read the book.
Yeah.
Jaco, you're saying, sorry.
I agreed on everything you said. It made the season so much more fun, and at times even more depressing in The Sky Is Falling. But it definitely added enjoyment, and the fact that people or want to even attempt to listen to us is dumbfounding to me, but also exciting at the same time.
Such a positive response, unreal. And like I said, everybody,
some of our followers as well.
Exactly. Everybody contributed. Hopefully this is going to be something that we can do. We can evolve over time. Again, that's why I said Max Nation is here to stay. We know Bob would have nothing less than all the questions to keep coming, Ryan or no Ryan. So it's going to be tremendous. Keep the donations coming. Mayors, let me know that we've raised $200 so far. Hopefully we continue to push towards the goal. I know that's going to be my first stop right after this. But please, no matter what you give, any amount, no amount is too small. Please give, and really, we've now seen and met a person that you're going to make a direct impact on, and that is a tremendous thing to see where your sort of where your money goes. But please, so many opportunities out there. If you're inspired at all, please take care of it. And guys, thank you for a wonderful episode. Like I said, energy back on Wednesday. We'll be high pumped. Really, tournament is still going on. Can't say enough. Thank you to Pete Lambesis for joining us. Hopefully on Wednesday, and maybe some other guests that we'll be able to throw in too. We'll have Poppers tweet it out and let us know who the exciting guests are. But check it out, guys. Have an awesome night. Any last thoughts?
Just want to reiterate how thankful we are both for everyone who tunes in to watch us, but also for the team and what they've accomplished and just the pride that they brought to both to the college community, also the Jewish people internationally. And it's been amazing to watch and looking forward to it continuing.
Yaakov, what do you got?
That's it. Well said. You know, I second and third everything that we said, and you know, look forward into taking this in the off season, which is not going to be off season for us. You know, we're going to keep up with the content, and you know, hopefully, I'm hoping this ends up in a live podcast or a live Zoom feed from the Summer League in Vegas. One can only hope. That's the dream right now. You know, after we didn't win the championship, we got something to root for.
Exactly. We got some Ball Habatim, maybe some merch, some Ball Habatim Shabbatonim coming up. I know we asked for a Shabbatonin in Teaneck at some point. We're going to try to. I know we have the IW game. I'm talking to Bob about sort of how we can figure out how to help get fans down for that home and home, the second of that series, which I believe is part of the Jack Sigma tournament in November. Not sure if actual exact dates are there yet. But again, so many opportunities to spend time with the Max community. Thank you guys again. Mayor Wiesel, can't thank you enough in terms of the production, everything you do here, the guests piece, all the while, by the way, you're like Gabe, you know, all the while working at another job, you know, sort of making this happen. So Mayor, you know, we can't thank you enough. You are the Gabe lifer, triple doubles almost every time out. Of the Ball Habatim, and again, we have so much Akar Tov to you, and we hope it continues.
Thank you guys for.
You're on mute, man. We gotta get you off the mute.
No, I think the people can hear me, but I just want to thank you guys for producing and giving us all the content.
The man behind the production of Ball Habatim, we need to get him on.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to let you guys know that personally, I'm thankful for the content you guys are giving me and everybody else, because there was nobody else doing it. You know, we like Dave's content when he had Max stuff going on, like that stuff would blow up, but he can't cover the Max every week like we can. So I want to thank you guys for producing and coming on the show voluntarily and giving up your time to make this stuff.
Awesome. We're gonna have some great content coming forward. We're gonna hit some recruiting topics. We're gonna hit some, you know, maybe now that the season is closed, we could do a greatest ever, right? And talk about sort of invite people on from the different, you know, eras of Max basketball and be able to talk some of the greatest. It's gonna be a tremendous ride, and we hope to continue to do it. And we hope you guys out there join us as that keeps happening. Ari's working on some new intros. Got to get some more guests so we can get that going. But it's tremendous, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and we'll talk soon. Peace to everyone.
Night.
Have a good night, guys.
Awesome, Mayor. Really appreciate it.